What's going on, everybody? LK here, back at it again with another video for Beastcoast, and today I want to talk about why I stopped playing Granblue Fantasy Versus. So I actually really enjoyed Granblue Fantasy when it came out. I played it really heavily at every single opportunity I could get before the game came out. I also competed quite a bit, both offline, pre-lockdown, and online a little bit in tournaments like NLBC Weekly. And I really like the concept of the game, but the first reason I kind of stopped playing slash lost interest in the game is the way the game is going in general as far as balance. So there were some issues when the game came out with character balance, but there was a patch pretty early on into the game that I thought was basically the perfect patch. Like, they fixed all the problems everyone had, most of the complaints that people had were all changed, and then even things that, like, say for example my character Catalina, or Catalina players like, man, this ruins her, it actually ended up working out fine, and I found the game to be very, very enjoyable. One thing I don't like about what they're doing is that it seems that they advertise the game as this old school SF2 style, slow paced game, but they keep adding characters that work around this too much, or like force certain types of situations too much. And I just don't like how the game advertises itself as one type of game, but I don't feel like it plays that way. Despite that, though, I did like that patch, but I think they doubled down really hard in Season 2, and I was just not a fan of it. Which brings me to the second reason, is they nerfed my character again, and she's the only character I like in the game. So as opposed to other fighting games I've played, where a good example would be Persona 4 Arena, where they nerfed, understandably nerfed, because I thought she was the best character, Mitsuru Kirijo, in the original Persona 4 Arena. There were a bunch of characters I liked in Persona 4 Ultimax, and Mitsuru was still fine. And I ended up playing Margaret in Persona 4 Ultimax. Or another example is BlazBlue, where eventually they made so many changes to the original character I played that I ended up switching characters a couple of times. But I liked a lot of the characters in the game, so I didn't have a huge problem switching characters. But in Granblue Fantasy, I really only like one character, and I was cool with the first round of nerfs because I felt they were pretty fair overall. But the second round of nerfs, between what they did to her specifically and how they changed the game, I thought was really rough. And the two biggest ones to me was the changes to fireballs. So there's a change to EX Fireball where it doesn't knock down people anymore. So I don't think it discourages action enough anymore. You couldn't combo before, but you got pressure. Now you don't really get anything, and besides damage, I don't think it discourages the opponent enough. The other one is the change to her crouching medium, where we don't even get to play the game offline. So even though the move is so threatening, they nerfed this move that, like, such a small percentage of players can use well, and you really can't confirm well online. So I was kind of upset with both. I think the second change, like, it works out okay, but overall I was just kind of upset they gave her another round of nerfs. And this leads me to the third reason why I don't really play the game anymore. So in Season 2, of course, there's season passes with each season of the game. They do this in a lot of fighting games now. But the initial character they added to Season 2 is a character named Belial. He's the first DLC character. They announced him actually when the game came out for Season 2 to kind of encourage people to keep playing until Season 2. And when he was released, I don't know about right now because they nerfed him apparently, but when he was released, he was clearly the best character in the game. He had a bunch of stuff that they took away from other characters, which you hear a lot in other Arc Sys games, them doing stuff like this. And, like, he's just a character I just do not like. Like, aesthetically, like, the way he talks, his theme, like, what he does, everything I can't stand. So a combination of nerfing my character and adding him was like, that was pain. There's no other way to put it. It was like I was in Spain without the S. Like, I was just really painful. Which brings me to the fourth thing, which is no offline. So of course this applies to everybody. Nobody's really getting to play fighting games or any competitive games in an offline setting. It hurt for a few reasons. So, like, it kind of hurt my competitive motivations early on, but I ended up using Granblue Fantasy Versus as an opportunity to improve myself as a fighting game player. And I think I really, really grew from playing this game and grinding really hard and only playing Catalina, who's like a Ryu and Ken type of character. But my character is definitely weaker online. She relies a lot on like the whiff punish game and like seeing what people are doing and countering hard. I ended up grouping the characters into two large macro groups. So there's the whiff punish type characters like Gran and Catalina. So while they're able to kind of like lunge their way in on occasion, they generally win games by enforcing their space with punishing you. And then there's characters that use special moves to play neutral. So examples range from like mr.r, who fires arrows full screen and is really mobile. There's the small little potato character Charlotte, who has like a Blanca ball that's safe on block. There's Zoe, who has like a dragon that she can control. So these characters, their traditional neutral game is not so good, but they have special moves that are really good. What ended up happening, in my mind at least anyway, is that those characters, I think, are stronger online than offline because they can do these things with relatively low fear of getting punished too often. And if you play a character that relies on whiff punishing, it's harder. So I didn't mind that at the beginning, but like with them continuing to nerf Catalina, like it kind of started to bother me. And I was like, man, I'm gonna have to switch to one of these characters. And I don't really like those characters' playstyles so much. And this ties into the last one, which is the netcode. So Arc System Works games have used the delay-based style netcode for a while, but it hasn't really been too much of an issue for me. I live in a location where there's a lot of people who play fighting games, so I'm kind of lucky that I can get pretty decent connections. But I understand not everyone has that, so I know for a lot of other people, the netcode is the #1 reason why they don't play this game. But for me, it's actually a pretty low reason. But over time, it definitely started to become pretty grating with things like I mentioned before, like how some characters play neutral, how you defend. There's a bunch of like situations where it would probably be easier to deal with if I got to play offline or with a good rollback netcode as opposed to the delay-based netcode. So yeah, those are basically my 5 main reasons why I don't really play the game anymore. It's kind of a shame because I really honestly do like the game, and if you like the game too, don't let this discourage you from playing it and trying to play with people. It's just a choice that I made for myself after a while. I think the game is in a pretty interesting spot right now if you still want to try it out. Again, this is just like why I decided to stop playing very seriously. I still play on occasion, like every now and then, but it's not like a daily grind type of thing for me like Dragon Ball is, for instance. If you have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you feel like it, and we'll see you next time.